Hello, I'm Sam Stovall, U.S. Equity Strategist for S&P Capital IQ. In this week's Sector Watch, found on www.getmarketscope.com, I discussed market declines in excess of 5% associated with rate tightening cycles. Many people wonder if the S&P 500 slipped into a decline of 5% or more 6 months before or after the first rate hike. The answer is a resounding yes, and probably more times than investors truly care to know. Since 1946, the S&P 500 began a decline of more than 5% in 13 of 16 times in the 6 months prior to the first rate hike, erasing an average of more than 16% of its value. In the 6 months after the first rate hike, the S&P 500 declined by more than 5% 6 times, falling an average of 15%. Finally, when considering declines both before and after the first rate hike by the Fed, the stock market recorded a meaningful decline in 14 of 16 times. In other words, in 88% of the time, the markets were thrown into a decline of 5% or more when an initial rate hike was a possibility or reality. So should history repeat itself, and there's no guarantee it will, there is a very high likelihood that the S&P 500 will begin a decline of 5% or more within 6 months of when the Fed eventually decides to initiate its new rate tightening cycle. And if this meaningful decline doesn't catch the market leading up to the first hike, it will likely do so shortly thereafter. I'm Sam Stovall, and I'll talk with you again next week.